Hello, everyone. Hope
Hi,
you're able to see
everyone.
it.
Can we see them?
We cannot see them. We can chat them. We can wave them.
Oh, sorry, Anu. Hi, everyone. Sorry, we can't see you, but I can see
Yeah.
your images.
Yeah, sure. Welcome, Ashley. Welcome to our session. And hello, everyone. Thanks for coming here for this wonderful session. I am Anuradha Raman. I'm glad to meet you all at it's another exciting and interesting Sparks event by Synapse QA community. I welcome Ashley, our speaker for today, and all the attendees. Thanks for joining us. Before we get into the session, a quick background of Synapse QA for the benefit of new members. Synapse QA is, quickly let me share the screen. Okay. I hope you are able to see my screen now. Yeah.
All good, Anu.
Okay. Turn off my video.
You just lost your camera, Anu, but we can hear you, I think.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So Synapse QA is a community-driven platform for testers. What started as a co-writing platform has grown into a wonderful community that helps mentors, guides testers by redefining creativity. So, one second. Okay. You are able to see my screen, right?
Yep, all good.
Sure. So we hosted 2 global events this year, one meetup, parallel learning series, Teller of Tales, blogcast, study notes. So this year was special. We introduced this webinar series called Sparks, and we had wonderful speaker lineup. We are almost done with the Sparks event. Two more speaking events left out for this year. And we have gone live with the top 12 Super Reads blogathon. So I hope like many of the attendees or all the attendees have got the chance to read through the Super Reads articles and start reviewing them and read them. So as part of this webinar anthology series today, we will meet Ashley. A wonderful topic again, given has Agile betrayed its primary value. So, I would like to mention here about our sponsors, primary sponsors, ApplyTools, AxleQ, Lambda Test, Test Sigma, Muke Test, and Test Project. So, without taking more time, I would just give Ashley to start with her session. Ashley?
Great. Perfect. Thanks so much, Anu. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Sorry I can't see your faces. And I was going to ask just in the chat if people can just let me know where in the world you're dialing in from. Anu, can they type in the chat? Does that show up for everyone, or does that just come to us?
Yeah, they have started giving you, answers right away, like Spain, Switzerland.
Great. Yeah. So if you guys just want to drop a message or pop into the chat and just share where in the world you're dialing in from, it's always really good to see where everybody is coming from. I recognize a lot of the names on our list, so thank you all for joining. Also, Developer Dan, I hope you're doing well. I haven't spoken to you in so long. And Giles, hi. Current team at Highways and PA, thank you guys so much for joining. It's great to see you all. Russ, hi. Welcome. Thank you for joining. So let me go ahead and share my screen and just double check. Hi, Holger. Germany, where else do we have? Germany, UK. Cool. Can you guys see my screen okay? Nice. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go, let me go into it. If it would present. There we go. Anu, can you see my slides okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. Good. So I can no longer see you guys. I'm really sorry. So I'm just going to talk to my screen and talk to the slides.
We are excited to see you, Ashley.
Okay, fantastic. Cool. Okay, so this talk today is going to be about, has Agile betrayed its primary value? I appreciate this talk is a bit different from the other talks in the QA, the Synapse series. The other ones are focusing on quality and testing, but I think that through speaking about people and quality of interactions, it does contribute towards better quality and testing in a way. So thank you, Anu, thank you, Nathan, and Synapse QA for inviting me here to talk about this topic. It's one that's very close to my heart. So what we're going to get into, I'll talk for probably about 40-ish minutes. I've got 3 mentee polls during the course of this, and then I'd like to get into about 20-ish minutes of just discussion and Q&A and just interaction with you all. So the things that I'll be talking about are lessons and tips we can learn from Indigenous cultures on how to build deeper connections with others, areas where our own culture and norms might be hindering the outcomes we're striving for, and how to manage your own self-complexity amid organizational complexity. To start, I'm going to do a bit of an extended introduction, and it's not because I'm a narcissist, but because I want to explain a bit about where this talk is coming from. So when I was in my teens, I moved to the Gambia as a favor to my mentor, who was pregnant and couldn't implement her Yale assessment. So she asked me to go, and I got a passport and left America for the first time, and it turned my life upside down. And you can see at the time, digital cameras didn't exist. So I have these photos from my time there that I would take with film and develop in a dark room. And it was just a really magical, special time. And after this, I moved to England to study neuropsychology at Oxford. I went back home to America and graduated with that neuropsychology degree. After that, I joined the Peace Corps with the US Department of State, and I was sent to Mali at about 21, 22. I lived in the bush for 2 years in northern Mali, which is the second poorest country in the world. And I lived in an animist tribe. I lived with shaman. I spoke with village elders, keepers of knowledge and stories. And at times I forgot my own native language, which was very bizarre. I worked with local languages, with Bambara, with schools, ecosystems, microfinance teams, health and small enterprise development, and art. The average education level for my villagers was 2nd grade. And I made $200 a month for years. And at that time, I learned that it is our ways and not our material things that ground and sustain us. And it's our relationships that are the foundation of everything we do and everything that we hope to accomplish. And through these relationships, we find ways to survive in harsh environments. So in Mali, it's a very interdependent, interpersonal, oral culture. Nothing's written. I'm going to be speaking during this talk about themes and patterns of thinking and being. And I can speak to my experiences and how my life was changed, but I cannot speak on behalf of this knowledge base. I'll just be sharing my experiences with you. So you can see some photos in the slide of the different areas that I worked in. In the middle, you can see at 21, I became a homeowner for the first time. And those were like my neighbors helping me build a wall because the kids kept coming up to the window and staring in at me. And you can see me working at the clinic and in the farms. The bottom left, you can see with the donkey cart, I think I was going to a polio campaign. And my host mom pulled out like a plastic bag with this roasted goat head in it and said, "This is our fast food on the way." And I just couldn't believe it, right? I was like, what is going on? I'm not eating that. But I had to eat it anyway, because you can't say no. But you can just see a bit of a snapshot into my life in my mid-20s. And then after that, war and famine ended my time in Mali, and that broke my soul in ways I didn't know was possible at 24. I moved back to America. I worked in public health at Hopkins. I moved back to the UK after that. And I got an MBA, and I only got it so I didn't have to marry a guy I fancied so we could date. And then I learned more cultural nuances that I still learn every day. The last 7 years, I've been a management consultant in M&A. I fell into Agile. I just loved it. I absolutely loved everything about it. Started to grow this offering at my last organization, Grant Thornton. And then I met Giles, Lindsay. Giles, thanks so much for joining. And we co-lead the Agility Leadership Network with about 2,000 Agile practitioners. So, in short, for this intro, I believe, like Simon Sinek, that having fulfillment in our work shouldn't be a privilege. And my purpose here is to serve others and help pull from other cultures to find solutions to dysfunctional scenarios and try to help make the world better one step at a time. That's why I'm here today. I'm a practitioner like you all on the line, and these are my thoughts and experiences. This is my first time giving this talk, so please join in the Q&A and discussion at the end. Share some feedback. I'd be really, really keen to hear your thoughts. So present day, right? We all live and work in an Agile space. So when I normally get a phone call from clients or my boss, it's because you hear people are in need of some help, right? You hear business stakeholders saying IT is too slow to deliver. We're not clear on priorities. We have shadow IT. Then you talk to the developers and they're like, we're working so hard. We're being micromanaged. Everything's a bottleneck. People come to us across the business for urgent things all the time. PMO think IT can't estimate. They're over time, over budget. You can't see the cost base, right? You can't see everything that's in flight. And business functions say our procurement cycles are taken and budgets are locked in annually. We need to plan really far in advance. And we're working so hard, but we don't know the right people to talk to. I wonder if this resonates with a lot of you on the line. These are the trends that I tend to hear, regardless of industry, regardless of market. These are the most common ones that I hear. So then we think, okay, let's go Agile, right? Let's rock and roll. Agile is going to save us. And then you do it and you realize it didn't save us. Do we need to be better at Agile? Do we need to be more Agile? I've got some weird Christmas memes built into the slides, just building up to Christmas. But your team is left thinking, what do we do? So step one, and I'm just going to lightning go through the next few slides, but step one, start with situational awareness. Assess the situation and the organizational landscape you're working within, right? Because all tools have bounded applicability where methods and tools have limits and are context specific, right? So I particularly like wordly mapping and Cynefin framework here, where with wordly mapping on the left, we have the uncharted area on the left of what the environment you're working in. And on the right, it's more industrialized, right? So the left side, uncharted, is the belief of people over process. When you work to the right, the belief changes, process over people, right? When you're working in agile ways, it is people over process for emergence. When you're working towards the right, it's industrialized. You're trying to lean things out, remove waste. That is process over people. And then with Cynefin, it's similar but different, where you have the 4 quadrants here and just assess the area that you're working within. We have between complex and complicated, kind of the agile sweet spot, right? So that's kind of, this is the happy path here, right? So just check, is agile right for the context that you're working within? And also know, as things evolve, their characteristics change, right? There's no one size fits all method. Oftentimes, because of this, people blame others for using the wrong parts of the process, but just take it back to the brilliant basics, know where you are, and you can do multiple approaches at once. You just have to work on them together and set that out. They can coexist so long as you're putting the right parts of the maps in place. We've got some links down there if wordly mapping is new to you or Cynefin, so you can check those links out and understand a bit more. So following happy path, right? Okay, we're working in kind of a complex, complicated environment. It's uncharted. We need agile. We need emergence to work this out. Yeah, so where do? You go to the manifesto and you start to embrace the agile values. And for me, the purpose of my talk will specifically be focusing on the first value of the manifesto, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Everything is important, but this specific talk will focus on the people side. So, right, happy path. You're working in a complex environment. It's uncharted waters. You're going to do Agile. Great. Let's go off and do Agile. Where do you start? I think, when I found this, when I started endeavoring into Agile ways of working, and I saw this map, I mean, it was kind of, I had a bit of a laughter, cringe, very nervous laughter reaction to this. It's kind of brilliant in a way because it does show all the different types of methodologies, right? But, my first thought was, bloody hell. The first value is individuals and interactions over processes and tools. What's going on here? So again, we'll say happy path. Pick a tool, just pick one. Go Scrum, go Kanban, pick a tool and crack on. So you get going, train up some of your team, and start your Agile journey. And then you hit some bumps in the road, right? It was working. It kind of stopped working. Do we need to be better? Do we need to do more Agile? And for me, again, it all comes back to that first principle of the people. Agile tools and frameworks are not the goal. They're not the purpose. They're a tool to enable a state that is difficult to achieve, this collective emergence of solutions. Agility is an exercise of this philosophy, right? It emerges as we do things and work with our teams. And of course, you need the brilliant basics like vision and alignment, understanding what's causing our organization not to function effectively, visualize how it gets done, select the right tools, right? Agile won't solve some things like Nigel Thurlow says, won't solve red tape, meeting culture, bureaucracy. So when you do work with Agile, just keep that in mind, right? We're all interdependent and we need to collaborate. I was recently on a SAFE training where one of a leading practitioner there said, we implemented Agile to overcome the previous silos, but even after scaling, silos still existed, just in different places. So it's all about the people, right? Because what happens in our work and our day-to-day interactions between action and reaction, what comes between this? It's interaction, right? So now I have a question for you guys. If you can please take your mobile devices or a laptop, your personal mobile will work, please go to menti.com and use the code 2845937. And I've got 2 questions for you. And I'm going to pull them up here. I hope this works. Again, menti.com, 2845937. And I'll give you a couple minutes to do this. I'm asking, tell me of an event, just highlights. It can just be a key sentence, right? An event that shaped your self-image. And it doesn't have to be War and Peace, just the first thing that comes to mind in your life, in your adult life. It could be younger, but you can just say in your adult life, type an event that shaped your self-image. And it's totally anonymous. And I just want to check, you guys can hear me, right? Yeah, good. Okay. Oh, lovely. Life. Whoever wrote that one, that's hilarious. The shaped your self-image life. Yeah, that's true. And give it a couple more minutes. Redundancy, getting a puppy, children, puppy is like children, winter storm. Got admitted into my engineering. Fantastic. Training, getting out of my comfort zone. Nice. Give it just 30 more seconds. And then I just have one more question. Oh, yeah. That's a doozy. Engagement being broken off after 10.5 years. Okay, I think that's good. Then I've got one more. Tell me of an event that shaped a loved one's self-image, or just anyone that you care about or have loving kindness towards. Neighbor, friend, graduating university, getting married. It can be anyone. Leaving a bad job. Divorce. Yeah, divorce. Diagnoses. COVID. Oh, yeah. Or divorce. Getting married again. Oh, big life events. Fantastic about the cancer survivor. Overcoming illness, abuse. Okay. Good, thank you. We'll come back to this. We'll pause this for now. Thank you for your honest responses. It's not easy to answer these questions sometimes. So, people, what does contemporary research say about connecting with and leading people? I particularly love this article, Connect Then Lead. It's from Harvard Business Review. The reference is down at the bottom right. Now, according to this article, when we judge our leaders, we look at two primary characteristics. How lovable are they? How warm and trustworthy? And how fearsome are they? What's their level of strength and competence, technical competence? And just to say, we notice plenty of other traits in people, but they're nowhere near as influential as warmth and strength. These two dimensions account for more than 90% of the variance and are positive or negative impressions we form about the people around us. So this is really important, and loads of different studies come to these same conclusions, right? So why is this important? It answers two critical questions for us. What is this person's intention towards me? And are they capable of acting on these intentions? So, which is better, being lovable or being strong? Most leaders today emphasize strength, competence, the credentials in the workplace, but that's exactly the wrong approach. Leaders who project strength before establishing trust run the risk of eliciting fear and a host of other dysfunctional behaviors, right? So a growing body of research suggests the way to influence and lead is to begin with warmth. It's the conduit of influence. It facilitates trust, communication, absorption of ideas. Even small nonverbal communications like a nod or a smile or an open gesture can show people that you're pleased to be in their company. You care about them, right? And starting with warmth helps you connect immediately with those around you, demonstrating you hear them, you understand them, and you can be trusted by them. Now, most of us in the West tend to work hard to demonstrate our competence. We want to see ourselves as strong, and we want others to see that too. We already know our intentions, and we don't feel like we need to prove that we're trustworthy, despite the fact that evidence of trustworthiness is the first thing we look for in others. And I think with your results, actually, you guys proved me wrong. You totally disproved me. And I'm delighted by that, because what I was expecting to see is that when you described yourself and your self-image, I thought it was going to be more about the competence. So we have some, right? We have some about certifications and training and your own competence, but a lot of this is actually, more on that warmth, that likability, that interpersonability. And what you normally see with research is the opposite. When you describe someone else that you care about, people tend to describe their warmth, these interpersonal sides first, which you guys nailed. You hit the nail on the head with this one. But I am surprised. So this is fantastic. What a great audience. You guys are really, going against the trend, which is fantastic to see. So let me just get back to this. So there's a lot of benefits of starting with warmth. It facilitates trust, exchange of ideas. And it helps increase the quantity and quality of ideas, which for us in Agile is super important. And it also provides the opportunity to change people's attitudes and behaviors and beliefs, not just their external behavior. So this is just fantastic. It's a really good study. I like it a lot. And just in summary, Connect Then Lead, the best way to gain influence is to combine warmth and strength, or your grit and courage. And, start small. Just start small and see where you go. There are some tips in the article about how to project more warmth and strength. So just have a read if you want to see more details on that. Okay, and Anu, I might need your help. I want to launch that poll now. I'm going to publish.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So quick question for you. Are you currently in a leadership role? You should be able to answer on your screen.
Fine. We are able to see the poll.
Cool. And when I close the poll, we should be able to publish these results. Okay, I'll give it about 5 more seconds. We've got 12 responses. We've got about half in. Okay, I'll give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to close it. And can I show it? Can people see, Anu?
Yes, they can see.
They can see the results. Okay, so you can see of 17 votes, it's almost split. We have 60% of people saying, yes, I'm currently in a leadership role. And 40% of people saying, no, I'm not in a leadership role. And to me, that is really interesting. So let me stop sharing this. How do I? Oh, I had it from stage. Hide. Okay, I'm going to share again.
We can just close the poll. Yeah.
Cool. So that's really interesting to me. If there is only one thing that those 40% of you that answered no, if there's only one thing that you take away from this talk, is please see yourself as a leader. We are all leaders, and we all have a duty of care to those in our charge, even if they are peers. Even if we are the most junior person in a team, you are still a leader. Everyone is a leader. And this mindset, I think, is this is fundamental to embrace, because seeing yourself as a leader and having a duty of care to those around you, I think, really makes a huge difference in how we interact with people. So please, everyone who said no, by the end of this, I hope that you change your minds and answer that question in the future, always without thinking, without any debate. Always answer yes. You are all leaders. So I've got a few slides. They're a bit word heavy, but I'd like to start to share and build up to my thoughts and experiences. And I've worked on these with my old Malian teacher, just get his blessing on this too, make sure I'm not sharing anything out of turn or inaccurately. But I've got 3 key themes here that I find really important to share on Indigenous ways of working. Now, this is where I start to compare our cultures a bit, right? And I am not saying one culture is better than another, because they're not. There are strengths and areas for development in all cultures. I am just sharing a perspective of where other cultural ways of working could help us work through some of the difficult situations that we find ourselves in. Okay, so number 1, respect and listen to everyone. Solutions to complex problems take many dissimilar minds and points of view to design, which we must do together in dynamic interaction. This is just common knowledge, at least in West Africa it is. This is just a common way of working. We have to work together. And to do that, we need to respect and hear all points of view. I mean by that, by listening and respecting, it's giving people the chance to share and pacify and put out fires when you find yourselves in situations that are dysfunctional and challenging, and there are just fires left, right, and center. pacify, right? Soothe, calm a situation down, and to help respect and hear everyone's viewpoint. It's stand-ups in group settings and one-on-one settings. In Mali, to show respect and listening, I would have entire conversations with people looking at a 90-degree angle where you could not look in the eyes because that was confrontational. So you would be perpendicular to one another, having entire conversations like this to show your respect and that you were listening because you're not looking. And that took a little while to wrap my head around, but it was some good stuff there. Greet everyone. This is probably the foundational rule in the Bambara tribe. And I think that this one's also really important in our current environment with all the COVID-y stuff going on too. For me, it used to take me 30 minutes to walk 150 meters, literally 30 minutes to walk 150 meters to get soap when I was doing my laundry. And I used to get so frustrated because I just wanted to do my laundry, right? I carried all these pails of water on my head. I put them in the buckets. I just wanted to get soap. Please just say hi. Please, just let me keep going. I have an agenda. I have things I need to do today. I, need to get these things done. And I would get frustrated, right? But over the months, I realized that my to-do list wasn't about what I initially thought it was, right? It's building those relationships was my to-do list. So that took some time for me to soften and come around to, but building relationships in good times is a lot easier than doing it in troubled waters, like we all found ourselves in when we woke up in this pandemic. So greeting everyone, it sounds like a no-brainer, but this is really foundational to building relationships and respecting people. So other tips, remove hierarchy, sit in a circle, just sit. No hippo, none of that. Remove it all, have a circle out in the open, and follow the basic social contracts of reciprocity, which allow people to build a reputation of generosity based on sharing to ensure ongoing connectedness and support. And some things that I'm noticing in Western cultures, and this is like statistically significant research coming out in the last 10 years, is narcissism is on the rise, right? There's a book, it's referenced in the bottom right, Sand Talk by Tyson Yunkaporta. I love this quote. Narcissists demand the right to be heard and then refuse to allow other points of view on the grounds that any other opinion somehow infringes on their freedom of speech or is insensitive, right? Don't engage the crazies alone. They apply double standards. They break down systems of give and take until every member of a social group is isolated and lost in a struggle for power that destroys everything. These people thrive unchecked in this socially fragmented instant communication era where we often have to deal with them alone, but don't engage with them alone. They're best checked by a group. I hope you're not encountering too many of them, but they are on the rise. Some other trends to look out for. Facilitators not engaging all parties and acknowledging that everyone needs to be engaged in the first 3 minutes. I read this in a book, I think it was Retrospective's book, and I took that to heart, and that's some really, really good tip. Try even a really simple, small activity just to get everyone engaged. Otherwise, you run the risk of people just unplugging and never plugging back into the conversation, right? And we all know this. We all know this is best practice, but just keep reminding yourself, because some days are difficult days, right? And we can't be on our best all days, but these are really important points to take home. Cool. So, and the last one, dismissing weird and wonderful. We all have in our groups, we all have that one or two persons that say like things that we think are kind of, mediocre, like, oh, that's not really value add. You're kind of wasting our time, right? And we often will just kind of dismiss and write these people off. And even if an idea isn't great, it's important to still thank everyone for contributing and keep the flow going, because it could spark an idea that is great. So just don't dismiss the weird and the wonderful. Okay, second point. People are the center of conversations, not cost, time, and scope. Right? Because we're working on complex systems, and they're adaptive and self-organizing, and they're composed of equal parts interacting together. There is no way to be an outside observer of the system. Be in the system, move and connect. There's a little story that says, I stand in this gully and see a rainbow in one place, and you stand on the hill and see him in another. And he gives us different messages that we're supposed to share and convey with one another. And I just love that image. And it shows, every viewpoint is useful. And it takes a wide diversity of views for any group to navigate the universe that we're working in. And see connections between things. Look beyond the connections and then see the patterns that they make. Because these relational forces connect and move us. And that's where you often see culture change and evolution happening. The only way to see the pattern is to respect and connect with everyone. And you can't come to this knowledge without understanding everyone's piece and part that they have to play. So something to look out for. In complex systems, trying to control from a fixed external viewpoint will not work. To change a system, you need to be in the system, working within the system. And also, we tend to focus on the individual points and politics, but not seeing the connections and the patterns that are being woven between them. So that's point 2. And the final point 3. Interdependence is a non-negotiable for collective success. This is a very important slide to me because I think in the West, we can sometimes misconstrue this. So Indigenous ways of working, reality of belongingness and connection, right? Systems are hierarchical. They're composed of equal parts interacting together. You need to relinquish your illusion of individual power. It's liberating to realize that you are a node in a cooperative network, and there's honor to be found in this role. You will not be swallowed up by a hive mind. You will not lose your individuality. You'll retain your autonomy while simultaneously being profoundly connected and protected. In Mali, the very structure of their language is built around this concept, where a base word for like you have the base word for you, and everything else is like a prefix, right? So you would add words to build the word you into family, into friends, brothers, sisters, humanity. It all has the base root of the individual with prefixes, and it's such a beautiful language. And when you join a community, at least in West Africa, you then become all of these prefixes, right? You become everyone's daughter or son or friend. And if your family, your host family, fails to uphold the social norms of welcoming you and promoting and defending that cultural norm, it is not just that family that has failed. It is the whole community that has failed. And this is implicit in every mindset. And a second story, when you're part of a community in Mali, you understand the paramount impact of collectivism when you're dealing with an event, a happy event or a sad event, a wedding, a funeral, a birth of a child. When these things happen, it is shocking how many people show up uninvited to come together. People you don't even know, because they see the community gathering around you. They feel intrinsically they need to participate. And there's zero expectation of being judged. But there's this inherent thought, somebody's watching me. I need to act like a member of society and follow the social norms. And it doesn't matter what religion they are. They can be any religion. This is a societal norm that when someone celebrates or someone mourns, we as a people must gather together to support that family or that individual. And it's all about the people. It's not about the money or the gifts in these settings. It's all about showing your humanity and coming together. And I found that was really beautiful. So some trends that I noticed to look out for is people driving personal agendas. So listen, right? Listen to the stories and you can discern, listen to everyone's perspective and you can start to discern what's real and what's been altered, and you can work with that, right? And notice your own ego at play. And I don't mean necessarily your own agenda, but it could just be, the little voice in your head. Like, for example, my soap story, the 30 minutes it would take me to go get soap. That, my rush to do away with the greetings and just crack on with my agenda, that was my own ego at play. Because for the first 9 months, I felt like an idiot. I had really terrible language skills, and feeling unintelligent was really challenging for me. I felt like a deaf mute, and it was really difficult and stressful meeting all these people. But that was my own ego just trying to kind of protect me, right? So just keep that voice in check. That's always in the back of your mind, and ask, are you serving a good purpose for me or not? Something also that happens that I see in the West is when teams are failing, or people or leaders, we tend to unplug from them because we don't want to be part of that Titanic. We don't want to be part of that sinking ship and have that impact us, which is actually the complete opposite from Indigenous cultures that I've worked with. When people are struggling or teams are failing, they won't be helped by everyone stepping away and watching them sink just so their own reputation's not tarnished, right? That's when you come together to help. And same for celebration, come together when there's need to celebrate, and celebrate everyone's success, right? Expanding on this, I see, with our generation, we don't really have careers anymore at one company, not often. People often tend to move every 3 to 5 years in their careers. And if they're not, it can even be perceived negatively, like, oh, that person doesn't have much ambition, right? So I see a lot of companies lately not investing as much in developing their own internal talent. So people are changing roles instead of doing quite the opposite, to invest and grow internal people in your own company. And I think a number of these topics is contributing to what's now being called the Great Resignation, where, COVID's happened and we had some furlough schemes and some benefits in America. And most companies that I work with and friends and their organizations are all struggling to hire. People don't want to work. They don't want to deal with it anymore, right? So, how can we as a culture come together and help our businesses out and change that dynamic a bit to focus more on the people, and try to help combat this Great Resignation? So I also just wanted to kind of bring this to life a bit with the performance curve by Sir John Whitmore, and this performance equation of performance equals potential minus interference. So you can see even on this curve, right, the gold standard you're trying to get to towards the right is this interdependent nature of our teams, where we are truly successful together. Being independent and being a high performer only takes you so far, right? But we do have to manage that interference, because performance is your potential on this curve minus interference from the organization, from external factors. So that definitely needs to be kept in mind. But I love this image, and it's a great book by Sir John Whitmore and Timothy Gallwey as well. So kind of the last key slide here is from Tyson Yunkaporta's book, Sand Talk. He is an Aboriginal in Australia. So when I was preparing for this talk, I wanted to try to expand away just from my experience. And I tried to read some other Indigenous books as well from anthropologists to just try to make this a bit more of a holistic, collective picture instead of just simply from my viewpoint. And I loved this point from him, that for complex systems, again, they're adaptive, self-organizing, composed of equal parts interacting together. There are 4 protocols here on how to work within a complex system: connect, diversify, interact, and adapt. And you do these over and over and over again. And this is how you work in complexity. Similar to Agile, but kind of different. So I wanted to share this flair. So connect with everyone, right? Respect, be warm, listen. It balances the excess of individualism. Diversify. This one's really important to me. So diversify, maintain your uniqueness, maintain diverse languages, cultures, systems. They reflect the ecosystems of the shifting landscapes we inhabit. And now I see so much converges, right? Websites, apps, they all look the same. There isn't that uniqueness to things as much anymore. And IT is not leveraging our own tribes that we're working with diversity is an asset. To me, diversity is not an issue to be managed or a statistic to be achieved, right? It is an asset. It's not about tolerating differences or treating others equally without prejudice. The diversification principle compels you to maintain your individual difference, particularly from other people who are similar to you, because that prevents clustering and turning us into flash mobs. And then keep interacting, right? And that these temper one another. So keep your diversity, but keep interacting. This is where you're sharing knowledge, transfer knowledge, energy, and resources. And last but not least, adapt. You need to allow yourself to be transformed through your interactions with others. Let knowledge and energy flow, have your feedback loops, and be prepared to change so these loops aren't blocked. And here is where we can really show our grit and strength. And if you're following these 4 protocols, then little systems of vibrant complexity, they'll spring up around you, and others will draw you into their net too. And it's just this fantastic virtuous circle that I find helps things evolve. And last but not least, have fun, right? If people are laughing, we're learning. And true learning is a joy because it's an act of creation. We can't always be grappling with the complexities of the universe or complexities of agile delivery, which to me is like as difficult and complex as the complexities of the universe. So, sometimes we just need to play. And when times get hard, try to laugh about it, have fun, and hopefully, we'll all find fulfillment in the work that we do. So, in conclusion, has Agile betrayed its primary value? Well, I mean, sort of, right? It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. Everything evolves. I think the people components we spoke about here today, they perhaps transcend Agile. For me, it's more of just a way of life, but I would still reword the first value of the manifesto to people and connection over tools and frameworks. Thank you. So I'm going to stop sharing now.
Awesome, Ashley.
Thanks
you for that wonderful session. I personally loved the indigenous walks. I mean, like the way of awesome points there. I'm sure that our attendees would have had an enlightenment session on the agile principles and basics.
Okay, thanks, Anu. Were there any?
Would you be able to
key
take
questions?
Yeah. I think it will pop up. Yeah. Are you able to see it?
Oh, yes, perfect. How do communities prevent suffocating into Holger, you always ask such good questions. Suffocating individualistic novelties. Holger, can you type in the chat when you mean individualistic novelties? Can you give an example of what you mean?
No idea.
Give it a sec. I'm sure you probably just need to type it. Can they talk at all, Anu? Can they come off mute?
You are not on mute. I mean, like everybody can hear you.
Or can the attendees come off mute?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Holger, I hope you're typing in the background, but
no, you're not able to see his chat. I mean, like he has mentioned that he means by individualistic novelties as new ideas and strange thoughts.
Oh no, I can't see that. Oh, QA. Do I need to be in the QA?
Hi.
No.
I think I was pulled to the stage, and
yay! Hi, Holger.
even with my little speech impediment currently. Yeah, I was thinking that sometimes individuals have some ideas and they are not on the common track, and we always see that, or often see that communities kind of level out such things as not being the norm. Yeah. And I would be interested in to see how these communities you spoke of, how they prevent such novelties popping up, because sometimes it's the spark of the individual which brings things forward, like innovation and so on.
Yeah, I hear you. And Holger, I know from Germany, from spending some time with German culture, I appreciate that's probably hitting a bit close to home with you and small village life in Germany too. I hope you don't find that statement offensive. It's just my ex is German and would tell me these stories from the small village in Germany. But So there are pluses and minuses to every culture, right? And with
Indeed.
a number of these societies, sometimes it is harder to get those individualistic novelties up, like to get steam and go forward. Again, I think it's just about sharing the ideas and getting a substantial buy-in to then take them forward and trial, prove, show that it works. Let people touch and feel and interact with it and actually understand. Because if it's novel, they might not actually be able to visualize or understand the concept, the high-level concept of what's being shaped. So get a critical mass together to trial and get it to a tangible point where people can actually interact and understand this and then make their mind up over it. And, follow best practice of what's in it for me and explain the benefit. But I do find, that it can be a challenging point for sure. So proceed slow and steady, mock up some type of prototype, and then, get the early adopters and then take it and run.
Kind of agile experimentation, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I hope you're
Thank
keeping
you.
well. Thank you. I see another couple questions. How do you feel about companies modifying? How do you prepare small teams to move into Agile Sprint mode? Anu, is that from you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. How do you prepare small teams? Yeah, I mean, it depends on the organization, right? But it depends on the appetite. It depends on what outcomes do they want to achieve and at what pace do they want to achieve them. But if you are just starting organically, just start small, right? Pick a framework and follow nudge theory and just do one step at a time. And you can start with the brilliant basics, pull together best practice, thoughts on tools, standards, get an informal center of excellence going, bring in people across the organization who do have an agile experience, knowledge, and share those ideas and bring them together to share and cross-pollinate. I started joining meetup groups, join the Agile community. We love sharing and talking and sharing about failures and learnings and experiences. And, there's a whole wealth of these resources, and just be curious, just join sessions and engage in conversation and visualize the work, whatever that work is. It doesn't need to be IT. It can be anything. Just start to visualize and then just start to work through a simple Kanban, and then, work on those iterative feedback cycles, and then do the next thing and the next thing and remove the next blocker, and then try to unblock the next thing. And you can start to see value being delivered, and it feels really good. And then you can start to share the stories and get other people involved, and then see where you can take it until you ideally hit an inflection point. And then you make a decision more formally with leadership, which direction do we want to go in? Okay, I think there's one more. I appreciate we've only got 5 minutes left. How do I feel about companies modifying Agile? Oh, such a good question. At my company, we are doing Agile with a small a. Okay. This is only my second company I've worked for that uses Agile. The last used SAFe. Okay. Modifying Agile. So Agile and agility, right? It's a philosophy. It is a mindset to get you to a state of emergence. Remember, use Agile in a situation where teams know there's a problem, but they don't know what the solution to that problem is. There is no obvious solution. If there is an obvious solution, you're working in a complicated environment, and you don't necessarily need to be running in an Agile way to help solve that if you know what the solution looks like. So this state of getting to a state of emergence, the core of it is use the philosophy, use the mindset, and use any tools in your power to get there. You can use any of the standard methods, your Scrum. You can go to a scaling model when the time is right, SAFe, less, etc. But companies modifying Agile, the textbook response to your Ramona, the textbook response is, if teams are getting started, use the out of the box until people understand it more, and then start to evolve it, right? Follow Shuhari. Understand the basics and learn them before you start to break them. So that's the textbook's response. But modifying Agile, I mean, in my opinion, so long as you are staying curious and follow the basic values and principles, and you have your feedback loops, and you have centrally visualized everything, and you have your the brilliant basics being met, evolve as you need to get to the point where people can share and are empowered to share these emergent ideas to help find solutions faster and better. I hope that answers the question. But yeah, it's hard, that's a tough one. And Agile is unique to every organization because every organization has different problems. So we all modify the tools and frameworks for our own needs, but understand them first so you know what you're modifying and what the potential repercussions could be and how to counterbalance that. So ultimately you're hitting that state of emergence.
Okay, I think that's all we have got in the Q&A section. So
that's it. Okay.
Thanks again, Ashley. I mean, thanks for your time. It was such an insightful session we had. Once again, thanks for sharing. The ways of working was awesome. I mean, we got huge insights from those. Thanks all attendees for joining this session. I would like to thank our sponsors for this session: Apply Tools, AccelQ, Lambda Test, Test Sigma, Mute Test, and Test Project. We have our Super Reads winners announced. I mean, the top 12 announced on 12th December. So we are looking forward for the grand winner announcement on 1st January. Do join us to know. And thank you all for joining today's session. And please check out our social handles and join our community to gain more such wonderful sessions from our speaker lineup. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you, Anu.
Yes,
thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.